Hello everyone and welcome back to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. Right, have to imagine that we're closing in on the end. Thank you to everyone who weighed in on the Apollo Justice, letting me know that there are some touch controls. Still working out exactly how I'm gonna work around that, but that's useful information, so thank you for that. So let's just get started on what I'm assuming is... this has got to be the last day of the trial, I'd imagine. Like, it's just... everything is there, we just need to put it together.
Now then, before we proceed any further, I'm going to announce the results of the tests we had performed earlier.
Tests?
Yes, tests on the bloody dagger that was found stuck in the pine tree.
Oh yeah, that... I totally forgot about it.
That's the weapon that Maya Fey used when she fought with the victim.
Allegedly. So what are the results? Was it the victim's blood or...
Due to time constraints, the full test wasn't possible. However, there is one thing we can say with certainty. The blood that was on this dagger was not the victim's blood.
Ooh.
That is all. Now then, let's restart this trial.
So it wasn't Misty's blood on the dagger, then whose was on it? Found stuck in a pine tree in her garden temple. The blood doesn't match the victim's. Interesting.
I'm sure both the defense and the prosecution know this, but this trial is rapidly coming to a close.
I swear there should be one more day, though.
Both sides will now need to show some firm evidence with their claims.
I understand, Your Honor.
From what I've heard, the witness is dangerously weak, physically speaking. So let's finish this quickly.
Agreed.
Very well, please bring in the last witness. Witness, please tell us your name and profession.
Maya Fey. My profession is, I'm the assistant manager at Wright & Co. Law Offices.
Maya. According to the magazine I have here, you're a spirit medium of the crane channeling technique.
I'm frightened. The Fey clan, I don't want any more to do with it. Oh, Maya. The pain of the Fey bloodline causes must be unbearable.
Very well. Now then, Miss Fey. When the event occurred, you were in the garden of the Inner Temple. And you witnessed the moment of Miss Alista Nim's murder. Is this correct?
I don't see any...
Straighten up this instant, young lady.
Slap him. Huh?
Pick your head up and speak clearly. There's always time for crying later.
But I...
Your mother was killed right in front of your eyes. There's nothing you can do to change that fact.
Oh. I kind of forgot why he was so angry. Yeah, now Alright. I get it. He's still being a tool about it. But I get it.
But there's something you can do. You can finish this. You've been watching the whole thing, right? You've seen the witnesses come out, and you've seen us squeeze the truth out of them. Now it's your turn. Let's hear your testimony. On the night of the crime, what exactly did you see happen? A witness, if you please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Or Maya.
I was passing through the garden on the way to a spare prep room when it happened. Suddenly someone struck me over the head. I stumbled and ended up against a stone lantern. I think I screamed, "Help me!" Then something warm splashed over me. That's when I lost consciousness.
So you were struck on the head. I suppose it must have been this staff.
Maya, the person who hit you, it was Dahlia Hawthorne, wasn't it? I'm sorry, Nick. I couldn't see. I don't know who it was.
Maya, think hard.
Sorry, Nick, but I really couldn't.
Ha! Can't say it was an especially good night for young ladies to be walking around alone. It seems that it will be hard to determine the criminal through the testimony alone. Very well then, Mr. Wright, please begin your cross-examination. Maya, hang in there. She doesn't look well at all. Alright.
Who else was on the Inner Temple side that night? Well, Sister Bikini, of course. But I remember her saying Iris would be coming later as well. The day after the incident, Edgeworth met Bikini at Hazakura Temple. That means she couldn't be the criminal. So then, did Iris actually come later like she said? Well, let me think. She seems confused. It's probably because she's so tired. No, I'm sure I didn't see her. She must have come while I was preparing for the training.
Who did it? Who hit you?
Well, I didn't see who it was. I was hit from behind.
You didn't see the person. But after that, your attacker was in front of you. How could you not see who it was?
Oh, let me think for a sec. I'm sorry, I just can't remember.
Maya's really having a hard time. What should I do? I feel like we have to press. Well, there's no life bar up there, so I'm assuming this isn't gonna hurt us. Come on, Maya, this isn't making sense. Why didn't you see the person?
Well, let me think. It was, oh yeah, that's right. It was dark, that's it.
It was dark?
It's not good to have too much light around when someone is undergoing spiritual training.
Come to think of it, there was earlier testimony to that effect as well. It was dark in the garden on the night of the crime.
Which is why she didn't see her attacker. Thought maybe she was trying to hide something, but I guess not.
Judging by that testimony thus far, the identity of the attacker was most likely
the spirit that was channeled by Elise Donim, Dahlia Hawthorne.
Very well, please continue with your testimony. What happened after you were struck on the head?
Right? What happened afterwards? My attacker was in front of me, blocking off my escape, I think.
You think?
After getting hit like that, I was in a state of panic. There were only two things rolling around in my mind at the time.
Well now, this is beginning to get interesting.
It's just now getting interesting. Okay. So what were the two things rolling around in your mind? My name is Maya Fey. 1 + 1 = 2. You see, for some crazy reason, I was afraid I was going to lose my memory. I know it's odd considering my life was in danger, but that's how it was.
That's not odd at all. Your actions are understandable given the circumstances. So, what did you do then?
I think I screamed, "Help me." You think you screamed, but you're not sure. Listen, I was a complete wreck. It was dark and I couldn't see my attacker. Was it a man, a woman, an adult, a child? I had no idea. I was scared out of my wits.
Believe me, my dear, I'm certain I would have soiled my robes.
I thought this person might attack me, so I... Anyway, I'm pretty sure I screamed. I thought that it was my last hope.
Well, it sounds like poor little Maya really was out of her mind. But I wonder what she meant by last hope. What do I do? Do I press her for more details? What did she scream? My last hope. Wait and see. Didn't she say... I thought the testimony was... Help me? If I remember correctly, the last hope was in red. Wait a minute, Maya. What's this my last hope stuff?
What? What do you mean by your last hope?
No. That's what you said. You said my last hope.
Huh? What? I said what?
Look, you were facing an attacker that couldn't see you and you screamed. That you couldn't see and you screamed, right? You screamed, "Help me."
Yeah.
But you testified that you screamed that because you thought it was your last hope.
Oh, well, you know, that's like, what do you call it when that happens?
It's not doing so well up there.
Oh, yeah, oh, that's right. I remember now. I was facing my attacker, but that's not who I was screaming at.
What did you just say?
Yeah, that's right. It was the person behind my attacker that I was yelling at. That's who I was screaming at to for help. Ah! What is it now? I messed up. I didn't mean to let that slip out.
Witness, are you absolutely sure of what you're saying? Behind the attacker, there was another person?
I am. Well, I meant to keep that part a secret. Ugh. What have I done?
Ha! It takes a ton of pressure to make a diamond. That's what I always say.
A ton of pressure.
You're in a court of law here. You can't make things up to try to hide things in this chamber. Witness, the information you just presented is vital to the case. I want you to add it to your testimony.
I could see a man behind my attacker by the light of the stone lantern, but you couldn't see the attacker? The man? Who was this man? Oh, well, you see, I couldn't see.
You couldn't see? She used this excuse twice now.
Well, you know, lantern light isn't very bright.
Lantern light, did you say?
There's a great big stone lantern in the garden. They always light it when an acolyte is there for training. Hey, you know what they say, under the lantern darkness reigns.
What? I don't think that's a saying.
So I could see the person that was further away, but not my attacker who was closer. Plus there weren't any other light sources in the garden at the time.
Then something warm splashed over me. You don't mean, was it?
I didn't know it at the time, but I think it was probably blood.
Is she saying that that's when Miss Donim, who was channeling Dahlia, was stabbed in the back by the killer?
At that moment, I was paralyzed with fear. I was just sitting there in the snow. I'm sure blood got on everything around me.
That's when I lost consciousness. So what happened next?
I don't remember.
How were you saved? You don't even remember that?
No. I haven't got any idea. I really don't know what happened at all.
That's too bad. I've worked side by side with Maya for 2 years now. I can tell when she's trying to hide something by how she acts. And right now, I'm absolutely certain she's hiding something. Alright, so we pressed everything. So what evidence do we have? Let's see, things she talked about. Occult, I don't think is going to help. Hazakura Temple map, let's see if there's anything there. I mean, everything took place on the inner temple side, so I don't think this is going to have anything to do with it. I don't think location was much of an issue. Hanging scroll, no. Photo of Elise. Staff, book, okay. Iris's hood, weather data, the sword, victim staff. We talked about that because she did get hit. It has a sword hidden inside, the actual weapon used to murder the victim. Okay. Loss of blood from a stab in the back. Okay. Huh. Man, maybe there is more to this than I thought. Main gate Beach, dusky bridge. That part doesn't matter. Crime photo, the courtyard where... Well, that's not where she was murdered, but... I got it. Crystal sphere. No, we didn't. Found in the garden of the inner temple. Burnt letter. The dagger. Found stuck in a pine tree in the inner temple garden. The blood doesn't match the victim's. We have to figure out whose blood that was. Taken the morning after the crime, so the bridge is completely destroyed. That doesn't help. Was not lit the night of the crime. Okay, hold on. I swear, that's what she said she saw. Suddenly someone struck me over the head. I stumbled and ended up against a stone lantern. I think I screamed, "Help me." I could see a man behind my attacker by the light of the stone lantern. Okay, that's a lie. There we go. So there was a man standing behind your attacker? Yeah. That man. He's the killer. He stabbed her from behind. He's the one who killed Elise Donim, otherwise known as Misty Faye, your mother. The killer? Maya, you know who killed your mother, don't you? What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? To be frank, Your Honor, I think she is in shock and quite confused. That's why she hasn't noticed the huge problem with her testimony. What do you mean? What problem? Maya, on the night of the crime, that stone lantern was out of commission. What? It's true. There was no light anywhere in the garden that night. No. Order in the court. Mr. Godot, explain this. Add the pureness of milk to the perfect, clear darkness of coffee. Stir. That's the state of the witness's mind right now. A cup of cafe au lait. Cafe au lait? Is that even legal? That took me a second. I'm like, what? Mr. Try's words are the milk and you are the spoon, Your Honor. Oh, that's amazing. I am a spoon. I'm no spoony Bart, I'll have you know. I get that reference. You must have noticed it too, Try. This witness's mental state is highly unstable right now. It's not hard to understand why she would make a little mistake like that. Sorry, but that's not going to cut it. What did you say? If there truly was no light in the garden, then there's a fatal contradiction in the witness's last bit of testimony. Nick. May I? Recall the witness's statement about her attacker. She said that she didn't know if it was a man or a woman or an adult or a child. And yet, the witness could describe a person that was standing behind her attacker, and she quite clearly described him as a man. In other words, that would have to mean that Maya actually saw our mystery person, despite it being so dark she couldn't see the face of her own attacker. No. Order! What in the world does this all mean, Mr. Wright? Are you saying Miss Faye saw the real killer under pitch black conditions? Objection! Try, do you have any idea what you're proposing? How could she have seen in the dark? There was no other light source at the scene. There's some things that you can only see in the dark, Mr. Godot. Maya, you did see who the killer was in the dark, and now you're trying to cover for him. Well, that makes sense that she would.
Well, because he also kind of saved her life.
Cover for the man that killed her mother?
There's only one conclusion I can draw from this. You know who this man is. Please, Nick. I don't know anything. Please, I'm begging you.
Ha! You talk a good game, Wright, but let's see if you can walk the walk. It was pitch black, so what could the witness see? I'm calling your bluff.
No, Nick, don't. Please stop. Maya's dead set on protecting this guy, the man who murdered Maya's long-lost mother, but I can't let him get away with it. I'm a lawyer and an officer of the court. I'm here to find the truth.
Alright, Mr. Wright, time to show us what you've got. Who is the person that you say Miss Faye saw in the darkness?
I have an idea. Who else could it be? Because I just remembered him, like, he was gone for the first day of the trial. He didn't show up until after we cleared the way to the bridge. Right? There's no one else that makes sense. We saw Gumshoe, so it couldn't have been him. I mean, we saw Larry. Edgeworth. There's no one else it could be. Why on earth was he there? I'm trying to figure out why Maya, like, so it's someone Maya knows. Why would Maya cover for him to this degree? Again, aside from the fact that, I mean, he did kind of save her life. Why was he there? That's what I can't figure out. I could see no, I was gonna say I could see people thinking it was Larry because he's the only person who is, like, actually there. This has got to be it.
Take that!
Because it was pitch black, Miss Faye was able to recognize the killer easily. I'm sure the court would like to see for itself how this is possible, yes?
What? But how do you propose to show us something like that?
It's easy. Turn off the lights. We just need to recreate the conditions of that night.
Conditions?
Your Honor, the defense officially requests that all lights in this courtroom be turned off.
But it can't be. Ha! That was a nice bit of deduction. Try it.
There's so much I don't understand. Well, everyone, this is the man Maya saw on the night of the murder.
Order, order, order! Prosecutor Godot, what is the meaning of this? Surely you must be shocked to hear yourself accused of such a thing. Why aren't you denying it? Ha! Your Honor, you're asking the wrong person. What do you mean by that? If you got a question, ask the witness. That's one of my rules.
Well, Maya, how about it? What you saw that night, was it 3 glowing red lights? So did she know Godot before?
Well, witness, answer the question.
Yeah, you're wrong. I never saw that. Maya, I thought the person that stabbed my mother was a man for a totally different reason. Oh, jeez.
Witness, Mr. Wright.
Stop your chattering, Your Honor.
Chattering? If it's worth asking, ask the witness. That's one of my rules. Alright. Well then, let's continue with the testimony. Please tell us how you knew the killer was a man.
We'll have to hear that testimony in the next episode. I don't know how much longer this is going to go, but I have a feeling if it's anything like the last 2 games, this is probably going to go on for a bit. So at this point, I'm just treating every episode like it could potentially be the finale. So who knows what we'll see in the next one. But as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.